that covers us all. The sky blue comforter of downy clouds that warms the cold earth through the longest of winters. Water. The simplest of gifts, the easy marriage of two elements to make a miracle. Life-giving, life-nourishing, life-preserving dew that bathes the planet in storms and streams and rivers and seas. Earth. The foundation of all our exploits, all our dreams. The tiny, rocky globe that circles the earth and gives us a home. These three are here met together miraculously and made possible that most improbable of elements, the fire of life. This is one story of that life. This is the story of a woman whose heart and soul strove to understand the vast and intricate tapestry of life. This is the story of one woman, and perhaps it is the story of all women in a way we have yet to learn. For we have yet to learn how to follow the voices of the elements of our earth.
That
Yes, the elements of life are beautiful, but the tapestry of life is vast and infinitely complex. I could never tell you the story of all life, and so I must choose one life and try to let it speak for all. But which species to choose when there are so many thousands? Shall we have a chorus of crickets or a quartet of coyotes? Bats would be exciting, but they're so flighty. Whales are terrific singers, but difficult to costume and terrible at taking direction. But trust me for the moment, and I will repay your trust by telling you the true story of one life that speaks for many more. A human life. A human woman's life. And this is the story of all women, because it is the story of one woman. It was just her luck to be born at a time when women were offered two exciting career tracks, housewife and motherhood. And the exceptionally ambitious woman could be a housewife and a mother. Yet, if a young girl, say with a certain penchant for observation and rigorous thought, should attempt to make a career out of science, for instance, she is likely to have been met with this firm but manly response. Objections against careers in science. But one woman fought against these obstacles to achieve her goal. A quiet woman, short and demure and wholly unassuming. She would thrill millions of readers and absolutely terrify governments and corporations. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Rachel Carson was born in the early hours of a late May morning in 1907 in a small town not far from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I think as the earth circles round each year to the season of our birth, we each come to take on the character of the season in which we were born. Autumn babies, or winter babies, feel proprietary about blizzards and ice. Autumn children feel a deeply personal attachment to the scarlet leaves of October. For Rachel, the birthday earth was strong and bursting with new life. Summer in its first full growth. The hardy lilacs still casting their thick perfume through the air, and the woods, wholly green and fresh and cool. For Rachel, even as a young girl, she felt the call of the woods, and she would wander the fields and valleys with Pal, her dog. Many children do the same, of course, but Rachel was special, for even as a child, she felt the call of the literary life. She knew she was meant to be a writer. By the time she was 15, Rachel could turn that walk in the woods into a beautiful story full of exact observation and accurate description. For truth is a calling as strong as poetry in Rachel's soul. And I think that it is only in writing the truth that real poetry can happen. Listen to this story, written by that 15-year-old Rachel Carson about her walk in the woods. And if you listen closely, you will be able to hear, echoing after her story is told, the song of spring as the woods themselves might sing it.
No.
Rachel met a number of inspirational teachers at Pennsylvania College for Women. And one science teacher, a dynamic and brilliant woman, changed Rachel's life. Rachel fell under the spell of the zoology lab and the physiology class. Such things are possible, you know. It simply means you were meant for a life of science. Rachel changed her major from English to biology, and the president of the college was scandalized. But science would be a job for this one woman, at least. And the subject of Rachel's scientific curiosity was an object she had never laid eyes on before graduating from college, for Rachel sought to understand the sea. The sea. Pittsburghers generally don't know very much about it. Western Pennsylvania has no conveniently located oceanfront properties. Perhaps you've noticed. But millions of years ago, the earth was very different then. A huge ocean stretched much farther than now and dashed its waves as far west as Ohio. Millions of ocean creatures lived and died in that ancient early sea, and their shells floated down to the mud of the ocean floor, and the mud turned to shale, and the shells to fossils, which Rachel often found in her explorations through the woods. And if you go looking yourself, you can find them too. A fossil is like a promise of life vouchsafed by rock, or a frozen soundtrack of an ancient ocean surf. If you listen with the ears of the poet and the scientist, you can hear the rocks themselves sing out with the voice of the endless watery sea.
Say
as men have done ever since Plato first renovated his cave into an academy, and as women have done ever since their fathers let them learn to read, Rachel pursued an advanced degree. She studied biology at Johns Hopkins and secured a job with the Bureau of Fisheries of the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. And then something marvelous happened. Rachel's government job united the poet and the scientist. The biologist and the writer were brought together in a series of department brochures, which grew into newspaper stories, and the newspaper stories grew into magazine articles. And before you know it, the writer was keeping the scientist awake for hours into the night as she wrote her first book. She called it Under the Sea Wind, and it was a travelogue set upon the ocean. Readers lost themselves in the adventures of the lives and deaths of the characters. For they were not characters. They were not even human. Rachel wrote about the creatures at the edge of the sea, and the deep-diving eel and mackerel that live beyond all human sight, and the continent-crossing seabirds that fly from the Arctic to the tropics in their annual cycle of life and death. These were not fake animals, or all-too-human storybook characters painted up to look like cartoon creatures. This was something new. For in Rachel Carson's prose, readers fell out of their human life and entered the larger world of life. And if you listen, you can hear the world of the sandpiper, for whom a sudden lightning burst shuts off the sky with a massive wall of storm clouds, while fair winds and clear skies can open up a path that stretches halfway across the world. Rachel has a job and a career. She is both a scientist and a writer. She has her dear friend Dorothy always nearby, and her orphaned nephew Roger, whom she raises from a child. Book follows book, each one selling more than the one before, and Rachel is a best-selling nature writer, known and loved by thousands and thousands of readers. The story ought to stop here, but I promise to tell you the truth. And the truth is, stories never end in this happy way. Things change. How could they not? All of life is change. And the true happy ending of the story comes according to how we accept the changes that are the facts of life. Not that everyone understands the facts of life, and I don't mean sex. Facts are the earth and us and all of life are in this thing together. And the sooner we understand that, the happier our story will be. In order to control the earth, we must control ourselves. This isn't the only way of looking at the earth, of course. There are people with some pretty deep pockets and some pretty strong opinions about control.
The earth is organized from top to bottom, in terms of resources and then what's gotta. It's like the sanctuary will be used as raw material for all the earth is placed here to control, 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 control. For all the earth is placed here to control. The Bible and the sciences agree that and it's our expert opinion that mankind must take dominion over all the earth is placed here to Let the women and the wussy poets yammer, man must build the world and science is his hammer. And show X exterminating all the kill them with the chemical, for all the earth is placed here to control, 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 control. For all the earth is placed here to control.
It seems the world was going to get better living through chemistry, whether it could survive it or not. And man was so proud of his new creation. Chemicals that could swat gnats down by the thousands and conquer the pests that plague the harvest. And these new chemicals were so modern and so safe, especially a little molecule called DDT. Why, we could dose our children with clouds of the stuff while they swam, pour tons of the chemical over our woods at night, stir the molecule into our soil, and percolate it through our streams. What was the harm? In the complex tapestry of earth and air and animals and plants, there is only one life living through it all. The chemical that kills the mosquito is swallowed by the fish, and the fish is eaten by the eagle. And not one part of the tent of life is left unstained by these ingenious poisons of man's devising. Rachel understood. She had the scientific training to bring together the 100 scattered studies and the gift of words to make her vision live in the minds of her readers. This was not a vision of playful ocean currents. This was a vision of death, a vision of a chemical winter that would never again burst into blossom, a silent winter followed by a silent spring. Rachel wrote her final and greatest book, Silent Spring, and the world suddenly understood the dangers of chemicals and insecticides, because Rachel could paint that picture with all the poetry of the seagull's quicksilver dive on midwave. And she spoke with the authority of the facts, so that no one could say she was simply an hysterical woman. They said much worse. Government and industry brought out spokesman after spokesman, each trying to discredit the truth that Rachel's writing made so clear. It was all so public for such a private little woman. And what only one or two people ever knew, as Rachel battled the giants day after day in press interviews, on the radio, and on the television news, was that Rachel herself was dying. Through it all, she remained strong and wise in the wisdom of pain and loss. In the tapestry of life, one natural death is not an ending, but the passing on of life to the rest of life. And if we are lucky, the wisdom of our age can rekindle the delight of our childhood.
Retain the keenness of the child, but tempered with an adult mind. Gaze at the world with your own eyes, nor fear what you may find. Gaze at the world with your own
Rachel's reference to the selfishness of insecticide manufacturers probably reflects her communist sympathies, like a lot of writers these days. We can live without birds and animals, but, as the current market slum shows, we cannot live without business.
to
softened to tears. There is no need to weep. I have lived. I have been fortunate beyond my dreams. I was able to explore the world even when others said no. I was able to warn the world even when others said, be still. Let those who come after me not moan, but work. Let my funeral music be not dirges, but a eulogy. Because it is the story of the one